iOS and Android.
Okay. Commissioner Bonds,
Present.
Commissioner Adkins, Commissioner Fisher, Commissioner Sarah,
Present.
Commissioner Allen, Commissioner Harrell,
Present.
Commissioner Cook,
Present.
Commissioner Miller. All right, so we'll show that we do have a quorum to proceed today.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our previous Plan Commission meeting.
Mr. President, I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher, Commissioner Sarah,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook. We'll show by a vote of 5-0, the minutes have been approved.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing items, PC 2024-5A, 717 through 31 East 49th Avenue petition to rezone. Is staff prepared for the overview?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Corey Sharp. This is a continuation of an agenda item from last month. This is a proposal to rezone the northwest property on 49th and Georgia. The property is currently zoned B11. The new zoning request is B51 to allow for a gas station to be located on the property. Since the time of the original petition, we have not received additional public input other than what was, there was a lady that presented at the last meeting. Those items have not changed our staff's position of a favorable recommendation from a land use standpoint, because it currently is on a commercial corner and has similar uses adjacent to it. So our staff recommends this request to rezone for a gas station so long as the development plans meet the requirements established in 123-193C4, which establish the requirements for a fueling station.
Thank you, council. This is an item that was continued or deferred from a previous Plan Commission meeting. So I will invite the petitioner, should they wish to come back to the podium and provide any overview from your perspective. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sonia Rohde, Sonia Rohde, P.O. Box 165, St. John, Indiana. I'm the architect representing the petitioner for the project. As you recall from the last one, he has a contract to purchase this property with the understanding that he can put a gas station here. The building is existing. We're wanting to refurbish that building into a convenience store and then add the pumps and a canopy for the fueling station. This property currently zoned for the convenience store, but not for the fueling pumps, so that's why we're here for the rezone. Everything that we've looked at with the zoning as far as setbacks, parking, landscaping, all of that does meet the zoning requirements for a fueling station. In addition, we're adding some lighting around the building as requested by the city, and we would obviously have lighting under the canopy. Those items help to provide some security measures. The building owner will also install security systems and security cameras on the property that will also help with security measures. I know that was part of the concern at last meeting, was that a gas station would bring some violence and crime to the area. There are not statistics to show that. In fact, the most prevalent crime with convenience stores is robberies. And of the robberies that happen, only 3% of those are with convenience stores. And the property is already rated for that, so adding the fueling pumps would not change those statistics. I believe you guys asked for some property that he owns in the area to kind of do some of your own research. I'm hoping that you were able to find that he maintains his buildings, he maintains the properties, they're well kept, they're clean, and that you will give us a favorable reply so that we can move forward with this project.
Okay, thank you very much. This item also, again, being deferred from a previous meeting, the public portion was left open for that purpose. However, that being said, I will still invite any members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2024-05. Please step up, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sandra Wilson. I reside at 4926 Georgia Street, right behind where they're trying to do this. Out of all they have said, again, there's no need for the gas station to be where they want to put it. Again, there's one directly across the street, which has been closed, and I'm grateful that it is closed because, again, deaths have occurred. I don't care what they say. I've seen it. I've been next to a kid that say, help me, help me, help me, because they were dying. A liquor store, I'm glad it's closed, again, for the same reason. I don't know why they adamant to put a gas station here because, again, there are multiple up Broadway. He already has one. He don't need one in our neighborhood. When I went home, I thought about this Greater Gary. My concern is for Greater Gary, what is your motivation on Gary being greater? Because if we're not protecting the people in the neighborhoods of Gary, where I have to come and take my time to defend my house against something that shouldn't even be or allowed to be, to come into our neighborhood to destroy, they don't care. They live wherever they come from. They're multiplying in financial status here, but yet don't care about the citizens in our lives here. But I care about my life. Again, as I told you, if this is permitted, I've been there 36 years. I've raised my children there. They went to the elementary, they went to the junior high, they graduated from the high school. If this is permitted, I will be vacating in a timely fashion. I've already let my husband know I don't feel this is necessary. I fear for those young babies at that daycare that is next to them. I don't care about them putting security cameras. I have security cameras. I've seen stuff on those security cameras. I've watched it. To have these kids' lives at risk because they come outside every summer and they play. These people with whatever mindset they have to kill, to harm, they rob, they store, they got these things around the cash register. They don't come beyond that. They don't go out that door and see who laying on that ground dead, if they even calling the policeman. Mm-hmm. I don't know them specifically, but I'm referring to the gas station that was open, the liquor store that was open. And it just doesn't make sense that, you know, you have to keep, I'm taking out my time. I called off work. I left work again, coming down here because I figured if I'm not here, they're gonna try to push through. Even they came the next day after this at the house trying to do something in the night, you know. And me and my husband had just pulled up, and they had their little machines in front of my house, and I thought it was somebody fixing on a house down the street. And the guy come and he say, we're gonna move that. I said, yeah, because I don't want to see that. You got a whole parking lot over there. Put that over there somewhere and do whatever you're gonna do. But then when he want to come and use our land to help him do, I told him no. I'm not permitting them to do anything, using anything that we own to help them do evil. As I said before, I'm not against that store. I used to work at that store when I was younger. But a gas station, no, it's crowded space, it's not enough space, no cameras, no nothing is going to prevent somebody from dying, being killed, hurt, robbed, bullet shooting, I gotta fall on the floor. I don't want to live like that. And if you guys don't care about my life, I do.
All right.
I would definitely find a resolution.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2024-05A? Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolyn McCready, a resident of Gary, 8241 Locust Avenue. I was at the meeting where Ms. Wilson spoke, and I heard Mr. Singh say that they had lots of gas stations in Gary, and they looked really good. He mentioned 12 and 20. He also mentioned, Broadway. 49th and Broadway. And so I contacted Ms. Sharp and I asked her, could you give me a list of their existing gas stations? I'd like to go look at them to see how nice they look, because as far as I'm concerned, the gas stations on 12 and 20 do not look nice. And but that was not on the list. There was nothing on the list about 12 and 20. And there was nothing on the list about 49th and Broadway. The list was 3749 Georgia, which is now, as you know, Malcolm X Boulevard. And then the other one was 6101 Broadway, which is where? In Merrillville. So what I wanted to look at was what do their stores, what do their gas stations look like in Gary? Well, I went to 3749 Malcolm X Boulevard, and there's no gas station there. There's nothing there. There was no gas station there. The other gas station that they say they operate is in Merrillville, and it's very nice. I have pictures of it here. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's at the corner of Broadway and 61st. It's very nice. I also took pictures of the gas station at 49th and Broadway, and it looks like an occupied zone. It's dirty. It's ugly. Okay, so I don't know what Mr. Singh is talking about, but as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't have any gas stations in the city of Gary. And if he does, he didn't put them on the list that he gave to our plan director. And so I kind of wasted my time, except that I am glad to report what I didn't and what I did find here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2024-05? Please state your name and address for the record.
Paul Bernard Razuli. I'm in the 6th District on 37th and Mississippi Street. Also been here some 30-something years in the 6th District. And, a couple things. I think when we hear people talk about addresses on the north side of the city of Virginia and also on the south side, when they say Georgia, we should correct them. It is, again, like our sister just said, Malcolm X Drive. Got to make sure it's been 2 years now. It needs to be done, changed officially on the maps, the Google Maps, because it's not done yet for some reason. I don't know why. But in terms of this gas station, there's a song by a Gary artist called The Gas Station. His name is Young Khan Don, and he pretty much describes all the things our sister just shared that goes on at these gas stations. I frequented this gas station before on 49th and Malcolm X a few times, run down, very small area, and like people have been saying, there's other gas stations right there on Broadway that people can go to. This is a corner that we can have some really good development, that can help enhance the city. The track record, like she was saying, with gas stations, like Mr. McCready was saying, in Gary with so many of them. They're run down. They don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care. They take the money and they leave the community. We saw in Hammond where they shut down so many of these gas stations at midnight. Why? Because there was too much violence. And there's much more violence, unfortunately, here in Gary. Another thing I want to make sure of dealing with this situation, hopefully y'all won't pass it, but this whole liquor piece with these liquors outlets now in these convenience stores. I don't know how that happened, but it's ridiculous. I just went by CVS right there in Midtown. It looks like a liquor store, not a drugstore, but there's liquor all in all these gas stations too. We got to make sure that doesn't happen, not just all over the place. One other thing about Gary, I think we need to be concerned about, and I know you got, no, I'll say that for the issue with the trucking or with that industrial place. But yeah, I rise against this. We don't need a gas station on 49th and Malcolm X. There's enough gas stations in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2024-05? Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak with regards to PC 2024-05? Hearing none, seeing none, I will declare public portion closed. You've heard the overview from the staff, the overview from the petitioner, and those in the public. Does the board or commission have any questions?
Mr. President, I just have a comment. I'm compassionate about the neighbors that are, excuse me, concerned about security. However, as the Planning Commission, I think that's beyond our scope, and it's very important for our police department and other areas that involve security to be addressing that. And if you look at what our scope is, does this meet the requirements that the staff presented to us? And that I think is the issue that we need to address today.
Thank you, Commissioner Sarah. Are there any other members of the commission who wish to speak or have any questions or concerns prior to taking action? Commissioner Harrell.
Yes, thank you. The discrepancies between the list of addresses that were presented at the first meeting versus the great research and time that was invested by our community member here to find that there were discrepancies in locations, some were not there. Is there anyone that could provide some clarification on that? If that's a fair request?
Yeah, I can't attest to what addresses they were given. I can say that he does not have any gas stations out on 12 and 20. And the gas station on Broadway that was given is at 47th, not at 49th. So the stations there, it appears that she's looked at the incorrect station. So I don't know how those addresses got switched, but I'm not sure she was looking at the correct stations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other commissioners who have any questions? Commissioner Miller. And let the record reflect that Commissioner Miller is president. We now have 6 members on the commission. Commissioner Miller?
I think that the way we look at history and groupings of how something has been done in the past is important. Could we possibly get a clarification of that list, an accurate list? Yep. Could we, is there a way to get an accurate list of existing businesses just so we can make sure we have our due diligence?
Yes, I mean, we sent the addresses to Corey. Did that not get transferred to you guys?
The reason I'm commenting is just because of the inaccuracy in the atmosphere. I'm just giving you an opportunity just to clarify. If it's the same list, we definitely would, just, if you could verify that just to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, the one at 6101 Broadway, which is in Maryville, I mean, we did give that one. And then the other one is 4700 Broadway, which is the one at 47th and Broadway.
Okay.
I believe those were the two that we had sent. And yeah, and he does also have one at 3479 Georgia.
Ms. McCready had requested information. I asked for a list from the petitioner. The petitioner sent me addresses. I copied and pasted them over. So maybe it was a typo along the way, but I believe that what they sent is accurate, and probably what Ms. McCready, is that how you say it? Carolyn, just Carolyn, is accurate.
Okay, just clarifying. Thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions, comments? Well, having heard all of the testimony, and I will like to add, or at least mention that Commissioner Sarah is correct with regards to the criteria that these decisions have to be made by. They are predicated on statutory specific criteria. Although we do understand and certainly sympathize and understand the sentiment of the public. But that being the case, what is the board's pleasure?
Well, Mr. President, based on the staff recommendation and the criteria that you mentioned, I will vote, I would recommend a motion for the petitioner.
It is, thank you, Commissioner Sarah. It's been moved that we accept staff's recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions on readiness or discussion? Roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds?
Abstain.
Commissioner Fisher?
No.
Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell? Commissioner Cook?
I abstain as well.
Commissioner Miller?
I abstain.
Okay. With the abstention, there was 1 no vote and 2 yes votes, with the remaining abstaining. So the petition does not pass.
Thank you, council. Let me add this, because this is a rezone. Although the commission may have made a favorable or unfavorable or no recommendation, it still has to go to the council and be heard. So I just wanted to make sure that that was made clear. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is PC 2024-06, 2227-29 Grant Street petition to rezone. This is the item that was carried over from the previous meeting. However, it has come to the commission's attention that the petitioner did not complete some steps that needed to be done in terms of public notification. So therefore, no action will be taken. However, I have talked to council, and I will take the liberty, because the public came last time and did not get an opportunity to speak. So we are going to open up, well, the public portion was already left open. We didn't open it up at all. So we're going to open up we're not? Not a formal hearing, but we're going to allow the public to speak with regards to this commission item. But it will be deferred, I believe, by vote to the next scheduled meeting, but we didn't want the public to come back out for no reason. So, are there any members of the public? Go ahead, Councilman.
Okay, and just to clarify, so no formal action will be taken today, no formal public hearing will be made. The developer was notified of this once we understood that they did not notify everyone who needed to be notified. The developer has agreed to hold a public forum in the community. Right now, it's tentatively set for February 5th at 5:30 at First Baptist Church at 626 West 21st Avenue. So they are going to be holding a forum to allow the community to come and meet with them and express their concerns and hear from the community directly. Again, certainly people who are here today and want to speak can speak, but that will also be an opportunity for you to speak directly with the developer. And then pending the formal vote and everything, we will set this for a public hearing at the next February meeting.
Council, can you repeat the address and time just one more time for the sake of the public in case someone did not hear?
The developer has tentatively scheduled a public forum for Wednesday, February 5th from 5:30 to 7 at First Baptist Church, 626 West 21st Avenue. They reached out to the church. The church said they believe that's not a problem. They just needed to verify it formally with their board, which will happen this weekend. That's why it's tentative. The developer also stated if anyone who wanted to be formally invited, if they leave their contact info here, they can receive an email or whatever to get formal invitation also. But as of now, that's when the public forum is planned for that.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much. Kenneth Wissington.
Councilman Wissington.
Yes, sir. Thank you for hosting this meeting. This may be better suited for February 5th at 5:30 at First Baptist, but unfortunately I will not be in town. We have a leadership conference in Indianapolis. But I do want to gain some clarification. As my colleague, Councilwoman Barnes, addressed the last meeting about the concerns of lack of engagement with the community, I just want to have some more clarification, if we've had any conversation with the developer in regards to what is the usage of this redevelopment and this zoning by chance. Do we have any clarification on that? Because last I heard, and I'm just, I don't mean to start a pot up, but they're talking about distribution hub, correct? And that's gonna be trucking, but not trucking, semis, but not semis. I may be young, but I ain't a little slow. Don't make no sense to me. And for our general public, this doesn't seem right, and it seems kind of deceptive. We don't need semis on Grant anymore. We don't need semis in community zones. We don't need semis where we have children crossing the street. So I want to make it clear that as of right now, I oppose this until we get some more clarification. Amazon size vans, cool. That makes sense. It's not disrupting the public. It's not causing any disturbance with traffic, not muddying up the population as it stands. However, I understand the need for development. It's the field that I work in. It's what I specialize in. I'm all for Gary growing, but in a positive magnitude that doesn't displace families and create more issues. So unfortunately, I will not be there on the 5th, but for the constituents' sake, I just want to say I will not be supporting anything that brings more trucking to neighborhoods. First of all, I don't like the amount of trucking that we have already. And I'm just gonna be clear with that. We need a trucking hub. We need a zoning plan that puts trucking all in one central location, but I'll regress. Thank you, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Councilman. But to answer your question, if our staff member wants to give a bit of an overview to answer that question, then by all means, please do. Thank you, Ms. Sharp.
Okay, as an overview, this is a petition to rezone the property near 23rd and Grant. It is currently zoned a little bit of B3 along Grant, and then along 23rd, R2. It is the former Beckman School. When we contemplate rezones, we do have a series of criteria that we measure up against. And this proposal is writing its own code separate from anything that we have in our code today. The code is in your packet, and in the packet, they have a series of approved uses that would be allowed there. They include a commercial greenhouse, wholesale business, a produce terminal, food sales, cold storage, light industrial, advanced manufacturing, appliance manufacturing, distribution and logistics center, including warehousing and shipping/trucking terminals and/or mail order distribution, assembly or repair of previously manufactured parts, cloth products, electronic component assembly, component parts of products, of tools and implements, office machinery, optical goods, paper box, recording instruments, office space, construction companies, and accessory uses like security sheds. They do have a list of prohibited uses as well. I won't read through that, but just to continue the summary, their maximum building height that they are proposing is 50 feet. They are proposing outdoor storage. All outdoor storage of materials or products within 600 feet of a residential district shall be completely enclosed in buildings and/or effectively screened with a chain link fence, lattice, or similar fenced ornamental fencing. The height of said fence shall be at least 6 feet and shall not exceed 12 feet. Then they also have criterias around parking and architectural design guidelines, streetscape guidelines, landscape, and lighting. In their exhibit, also in your packet on page 45, is a site plan. Ron, would you mind pulling up that presentation that the petitioner submitted? The petitioner, in preparation for this meeting, did submit a PowerPoint. I'll just pull up the presentation, maybe, and show a site plan. Yeah, keep going. Next slide until you find a picture with green and gray site plan. Okay, this is good. On this site plan, it shows what you see, the yellow there, is a building that is 261,300 square feet, approximately 18.7 acres under roof. And then the gray is asphalt parking. In the front, along 23rd, is street parking for cars. And in the back, behind the building, north of the building, they've striped this larger for trailer parking. Mr. President, if you would allow me to continue beyond the presentation and present my recommendation, or would you like for me to withhold?
Yeah, Council, because we still have to have the actual hearing, it might be best to wait until that time. At least that is the advice of council.
Okay. And Counselor, just so you know, this presentation is online, and the packet is online. It has that map much larger in the packet for reference.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Please step up, state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Terry Martin. I reside at 2461 Grant Street in Gary. And good afternoon to the commission and other elected officials who are here today. I rise in opposition to this project for a number of reasons. First of all, I'm a lifelong resident of the area. I'm an alumnus of Beckman Junior High School. I am the president of the block club there, and I represent in proxy our vice president, who is 106 years old and lives directly on Lincoln Street down from this project. Had it not been bad weather, believe me, she would have been here. Just a backdrop for some history, we've been here before. One of our residents archived an article when we were dealing with this back in 2012, when Larry Webb and Josephine Webb were trying to put a similar kind of business there, which was a bus barn. We were concerned then about diesel tearing up streets, traffic flow, et cetera, and it did not pass. This group, these petitioners made a presentation about 2 years ago to us at Roosevelt Pavilion. We asked questions and we put everything on the table, then everything went away. We heard nothing until now, 2 years later. Had it not been for GARD, and I want to thank Ms. McCready and Doreen Carey for putting a flyer on the Dollar Tree store door to let us know that this was going on, we would not have known. I would like to ask if the commission would seriously consider looking at the notice requirement, because it's very flawed. That's why we have to keep coming back now, because there's repeated problems with the notice requirement. The list of folks that this was sent to either don't live in the area and own property, so they're tangentially affected, not directly, or either they are deceased, and there's a lot of duplications also on the list that I saw. So the notice requirement bears looking at. In addition to that, I wanted to also say that it's environmentally unsound. I'm a big advocate for environment. GARD has been doing some wonderful things, and again, like I said, I appreciate them. And then also, I'm looking at the fact that this is nothing more than a truck stop, and we already have a truck corridor south of 25th Avenue. It's a truck stop, folks. That's what it is, a truck stop, in no uncertain terms. So we've been here before with this, the site plan, parking on 23rd Avenue. What's to keep these folks from shooting down Lincoln, Buchanan, Johnson, Pierce, any of the streets to get to 25th Avenue or to get to Grant Street, one of the main thoroughfares? They're not going to contain everything to 22nd Avenue like they're proposing. So I rise in opposition. I would ask that the commission take a look at the notice requirement, and this is not something that we want in the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We know that there are probably going to be a few, I'm getting ready to do that right now. We know that there's going to be quite a few of you who want to speak, and I try to make sure, and the commission try to be respectful and not cut folks off, but we're limiting this to 2 minutes. So try to get as much as you can in 2 minutes. I'll give you some grace, but not an entire dissertation, all right? Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
I just also want to add, remember, this is not the public hearing. We can still have this at the public hearing.
Right.
All this is important for your input, but you also have an opportunity at the public hearing because we can't take any official action today.
Right.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is John Baptist Wilcox. I've heard enough of that in 80 years, so please dispense with that. I'm a longtime resident of Lincoln Street, and I can only piggyback on what my colleague said in regards to this property. We've been here before. And the only thing that I can say, for 35, 37 years, I drove big truck. And I believe the petitioner here said that trailers, and I asked the question, what kind of trailers? What size trailer? You mean an 18-wheel? Because you're gonna have a power unit for that. It's a diesel. They don't work too well in the winter time. Most of the time you have to leave them running. Now this goes from 2200 Lincoln Street to 2278 Lincoln Street. Are you gonna partition off the diesel fumes, the rookie drivers who made a mistake and now they coming down in front of my house? Because it happens, I know. I've been there. So because of that, I can only plead with this council to do what's right.
Thank you, sir. And for the record, Ms. Sharp is not the petitioner. She actually represents the staff, just for the record. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carl Champion, a resident of Gary, 6940 Ash Place. I have property on 23rd and Grant Street. In fact, we have a school on 23rd and Grant Street. It's a dance school. We've been there since 2004. We did get a communication last time for this meeting. I stand in opposition of the, what is it called, the petitioner's
Request to rezone.
request to rezone. Actually, it's coded in a way that you don't see it as a truck stop on the information that we have. But the information that we do have is that it is a truck stop. As a property owner and an active school there, we experience the atrocities that trucks cause, even without it being a truck stop there. As the previous speaker spoke, he spoke of trucks making the wrong turn. My driveway at the studio is crushed because trucks make the wrong turn and they bring those great big 18-wheelers up on the parking lot and squeeze to make a turn that's hardly big enough for them to make that turn. And the weight on those trucks have smashed in continuously. I have to have it repaired every year. Smashed in the asphalt and broken the apron that comes from the street to the parking lot. For that reason, I stand against trucks coming into the neighborhood. The ozone and all of the things the truck brings with it, I recommend that the board seriously consider that trucks don't have to be, they don't have to go to inspections like cars, and they carry more fumes than any car that I know. And in coming into the neighborhood, they're going to bring those fumes into the neighborhood. Their vision is to access trucks. If we look at what has happened on Grant Street, on 9th and Grant Street, there's a junkyard of trucks. Nobody seems to be able to do anything once they landed in the old Anderson windshield wiper building that offered jobs and opportunities for people who left this town and went to Michigan City. When we looked up, there was Durham, who offered jobs to the community. And then in comes the truck stops. They didn't stop there. They bought the facility across the street that the hospital used to maintain their vehicles, the garage there that they built next to the tracks. It's trucks there. I don't know if they petitioned it, but across the street on the south end, they place trucks and abandoned truck trailers across the street. Everywhere there's a parking space, they have truck bodies. I'm not against anybody having business. I've been in business this year in this city over 50 years. We've had multiple businesses as entrepreneurs in this city. We're still active in this city. What I am against is us accepting something, thinking that we have something that's good for the infrastructure of our community, and they don't give back. They don't put anything back into this city that allows us to grow and redevelop or develop for an infrastructure. Nobody said anything about how many jobs this thing would offer. They only talk about parking spaces. Or we can plan, and nobody speaks about that.
Yes, sir.
Nobody speaks about the streets. 23rd is not a street that will accommodate.
All right.
23rd is not a street that will accommodate heavy equipment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any more members who would like to speak? Members of the public who would like to speak? Please step up, state your name and address for the record, and remember, 2 minutes.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
All right.
Okay, my name is Teresa Woodard. I live at 2156 Lincoln Street, and I actually live on the opposite side of 23rd Avenue. I live on 21st and Lincoln, and 22nd Avenue is 400 feet from my house. So I'm not a person that's deceased. I'm not a person that has property that does not live there. I actually live there. And we have neighbors that are elderly. We have neighbors who are young. And so I'm representing about 2 blocks of people that said, come down and tell them that we do not want it. We will give our official thoughts and comments at the appropriate time, but I just want to let you guys know that on the north side of Beckman, we are totally opposed to it. It is a neighborhood. How do you want to put a truck stop and all that stuff in a neighborhood? North, south, east, and west, there are houses, there are families. How can you do that? And so that's my 2 cents. I'm standing on it, and I'll do the official next time we meet.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak? And remember, 2 minutes, but we'll also have an opportunity to express your opinions officially during the public hearing during the next scheduled meeting. State your name and address for the record.
Doreen Carey, 7304 Indian Boundary, Gary. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here. I'm glad you opened the meeting to the public since so many people appeared to have a role in making this decision. The neighbors speak for themselves, but I want to say as a broader member of the city of Gary that trucks do not belong in residential neighborhoods, period. That's why they're residential neighborhoods. Schools are in residential neighborhoods, not trucks. So we made an error a few years ago allowing Jurek Trucking to come to the former Edison School site. There were lots of people who opposed it, who lived in the area, and others who lived also at Ivanhoe, near Ivanhoe School, which was also on the agenda. And Jurek Trucking ended up withdrawing from Ivanhoe, but they went forward with the Edison site. They made all kinds of promises: berm, buffer, screen, trucks only on the north end of the property where residents wouldn't be affected by them. You should look at Jurek right now. It is packed with trucks, front to back, backed up against houses right across the street. No screening. Yes, a fence. That is not landscape berming, protection, or screening. This is what happens when you allow an inappropriate development to go in a residential area. You don't know, I mean, we should have known, but we didn't allow, we shouldn't have allowed that there in the first place because they tend to expand, do things without potentially being overseen, and then it's there, and what are you going to do about it? That Jurek right now is in violation of promises they made, if not some plan that they ultimately provided to the city afterwards that ended up getting passed, which is a possibility. But they made promises that they didn't keep. And anybody who's got a trucking firm that has the kind of impacts that people have talked to you about, they're not going to be able to meet the promises that they're making. So I am opposed. I'm representing an organization called Gary Advocates for Responsible Development, and we want responsible development in the city, clean, safe, with good jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who would like to comment? Hearing none, seeing none. We didn't really open up an official hearing, so we, again, just wanted to provide the public the opportunity to speak because you came down last month, you're here now, and obviously you'll be coming back, so we didn't want to make it a wasted trip. So I do thank you for being patient with us. That being the case, do we need to take official action to defer it? I will entertain the pleasure of the commission.
I make a motion that we defer this action until we have confirmed correct steps have been taken.
Second.
Yeah.
To February 20th.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second? Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions, unreadiness, or discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellen?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Okay, we'll show that by a vote of 7-0, action on petition PC 2024-06 has been deferred to the February 20th meeting.
Thank you, council. Let the record also reflect that Commissioner Allen is now in attendance. And one other thing, as Ms. Sharp indicated, the packet is available online for public review should you wish to download it.
The Plan Commission website is gary.gov, and then go to the Planning Department. And then underneath the Plan Commission page, it will list the members at the top, and then below that are each month's agenda. And if you click on the agenda, it is the agenda and the packet that goes with the agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. I also would like to give respect to our two council members in the public, Councilwoman Lathan and Councilwoman Barnes-Caldwell. Next item on the agenda is PC 2024-07, City of Gary Zoning Code Text Amendment.
Commissioners, I introduced this last month, but if you would allow, I'll just provide a brief overview. This is a request to update the zoning code. As we approach this year, we'll be updating the code throughout. So maybe a couple times a quarter, you will see new text amendments as we tackle this zoning code. This first phase addresses daycares specifically, and then it also addresses implementing some of the zoning 911 recommendations that came out of the Notre Dame work in 2024. In your packet on page 48, starting on page 48, is a red line copy of the code as it's proposed. The first section deals with definitions, and the concept is to create a greater definition difference between home daycare and commercial daycare. Right now, it is just daycares in general. So if you're a resident living in a residential neighborhood and you are owner occupied, then you would be a home daycare. If you are a commercial daycare renting a place and operating a business, then you are a commercial daycare. The BZA sees a lot of petitions for special use permits for daycares, and having this greater definition will help the BZA make decisions. Another highlight on page 51 of your packet is a consolidation of development standards. At the last Plan Commission, Commissioner Harrell asked the question if this incorporates previous efforts to update the code. Upon investigation, previous efforts involved landscape requirements and site development plan requirements. I believe those efforts started in July of '23 and was continued as a draft and was never brought forward. So here in the next month or so, we'll bring those forward for you separately to consider. So today is looking at your existing code and putting them in a table like you see on page 51 so that we can easily see what the existing development standards are. We are also adding standards based on the Notre Dame recommendations there at the bottom of page 51, where it looks at minimum building square footage, ranging from 700 square feet in R1, which is similar to many of our denser neighborhoods in Gary, all the way up to 10,000 square feet in R7. The other thing that I want to highlight on this page is a minimum lot width. The BZA sees a lot of petitions requesting a variance for existing lots that are platted at 30 or 25 feet today. And that code does not allow us, it's a minimum width of 50. So once we make this amendment, any property in R1 or R2 would be 30 feet or as platted as of the date of this approval. We're also adding maximum structure height, permitting accessory dwelling units, and then adding minimum distance between structures, because as we get into properties that are only 25 feet, you know, maybe they can meet the side yard requirements, but they are close in building proximity. So this is just for fire safety. And then whether we would allow for off-street parking to be permitted, rather than that a parcel would have to provide their on-street parking. The red lines that you see in the following page are words that have been consolidated into the table that you are looking at right now. So no changes. I know there are a lot of words that we're deleting, but again, this is just allowing us to have a cleaner code to understand. And then the following highlight that I want to make for you is on page 64 of your packet. It is a new section. It would be section 123-373, pickup and drop-off / temporary parking. The two items that we're adding is provide 1 15-minute parking space for every commercial business on a parcel for package delivery. This just aligns with today's trends of getting our goods delivered at our businesses. And then the second requirement is drop off and pickup in residential zones. At no time shall the full right-of-way be blocked by temporary parked vehicles. Pickup and drop-off activity shall only happen in front of the associated parcel unless a parking space is safely secured elsewhere. A 15-minute parking sign may be requested from the city to designate a safe drop-off and pickup zone in front of the owner-occupied business. This would be in residential zones. The following pages in your packet is a clean copy of the proposed changes. So if you didn't want to look at the red line, there is a clean copy that stretches from pages 66 to 77. As a matter of recommendation, staff would recommend that you accept these proposed changes for incorporation into today's current zoning code.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Do we have to open that up for public portion? Okay. Okay. We will open up public portion to any members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2024-07. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2024-07? Hearing none, seeing none, we will declare public portion closed. Are there any questions from the commission? Hearing none, seeing none, I will then entertain the commission's pleasure regarding PC 2024-07.
Just by way of clarification for the commission. So what's happening is the staff has made a recommendation to some changes that we would propose to the ordinance, correct? You can vote yes or no on that. If we vote yes, it goes to the city council. So the city council will also conduct the same review, look at whatever changes we have, and either approve or amend those changes.
Mr. President,
Commissioner,
make a motion to approve 2024-07, the zoning code text amendment.
Thank you, Commissioner Sarah. Is there a second?
I would like to say,
Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions on readiness or discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
yes.
Okay, so we'll show by a vote of 7-0. The recommendations set forth in PC 2024-07 are being approved and sent to council for review.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is PC 2025-01, Dorothy King Street rename. Staff prepared with an overview.
The petitioner requested to have this postponed to February due to public notice. So I would request a continuance.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. I did not see that. I do apologize. Do we need to take action to do that? Yes. Okay. So staff has, as indicated on the agenda, been informed that the petitioner requested to postpone this to the next meeting. We still have to take action in order to do so. So what is the commission's pleasure?
Make a motion that we postpone this action to our next meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions, discussion, or unreadiness? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellen?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Show by a vote of 7-0. Action on PC 2025-01 will be deferred to the February Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda, PC 2025-02, 1100 West 6th, replat. Ms. Sharp?
2025-02 is a request to replat. In this case, it is a request to divide two parcels from one parcel into two. In your packet, I have a picture of the recommendation. It is on page 79. Their application is also in there. Staff recommends the petition itself to be approved. However, as of this morning, we have not received their public notice, proof of public notice, either from the newspaper or from their white receipts from the certified mailings. So I would amend my approval then to a continuance and then open the public hearing at the next meeting so that we can adequately review their public notice.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Having heard the amended recommendation from staff, I will entertain the commission's pleasure. And just for clarity, it's, well, I can't tell you how to make your motion, but the petitioner failed to make a step to, provide staff with proof of notification or public notice being posted. So she's recommending that we defer it to the next meeting until that can take place.
President, I would like to make a motion that we defer this action until all steps are properly followed.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second? Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions, discussion, or unreadiness?
I'm just going to clarify. So that was a deferral to the February meeting?
Yes.
May I also have another clarification on whether the deferral requires additional notice?
So, well, yes, because we don't have the proof that there was notice. They need to republish the notice with the February hearing and then provide, because did they provide any proof of the?
No proof.
I think since no proof was provided, I think we just need to set it for the February hearing and have them re-notice.
Including certified mailing.
I mean, that's the conservative way. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you. We'll advise accordingly.
Are there any questions on readiness? Hearing,
I'm sorry, just a quick question. So if they did the action but just haven't presented the tickets, are they still able to continue, or do they have to redo the publication over again?
I think they confirmed that they didn't do the public notice, but I'm not sure about the individual notices. And I think Commissioner Miller's motion was broad enough that we'll verify in the meantime that they complied with the notice requirements, and then rehear it on the February 20th meeting. And that way we can determine if they did send it to everybody, nobody's here for public hearing, we can announce that we'll hold a public hearing next time. It would qualify, but we've got to find out from them if they notified everyone or not.
Are there any additional questions on readiness or discussion? Roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellen? Commissioner Harrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook? Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Okay, we'll show by a vote of 7-0. Action on PC 2025-02 has been deferred until the February meeting after we confirm the proper notices.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is PC 2025-03, 2762 West 18th and 1502 through 16 Marshall replat. Staff may proceed with your overview.
Thank you, Mr. President. This petition is for a replat. The petitioner is consultant team, DVG team, on behalf of the Tillotson joint venture. This is the current Boys and Girls Club location. A replat anytime is how you record properties. And so this last case that you just heard was dividing one property into two. This petition is taking two properties and combining them into one so that they will have one ownership entity and we'll be able to have that recorded as such. This zoning classification varies from R2 to R5, and the comprehensive plan indicates that it's a neighborhood mixed use. We are not dealing with the use of this property at this time. It is only whether the properties can be combined. They would, if they were going to apply for any variances to the development code, they would go before the BZA. To my knowledge, they are not requesting a rezone. We have a favorable recommendation for this replat, and as a part of our recommendation, we would also request that you allow an administrative approval of the secondary plat process so that we can review that internally and approve that internally. The statute requires that a primary plat be filed and then a secondary plat that has more detail, but conforms to the primary plat. And the petitioner is here and can speak to the details about the differences as well. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. If the petitioner could come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Planning Commission members. My name is Greg Lorig of DVG Team, 1155 Troutwine Road, Crown Point, Indiana. As Ms. Sharp said, DVG is the applicant on behalf of the Tillotson Joint Venture, which constitutes Boys and Girls Club, Crossroads YMCA, and Methodist Hospital. As Ms. Sharp mentioned, the purpose of our petition for this plat is to combine two existing parcels that Boys and Girls currently own into one. The southern property is bound by 17th Avenue on the north, Taney Place on the west, 19th Avenue to the south, and Marshall Street to the east. The northern parcel is on the north side of 17th, and that's the parcel that has the running track on it, if you guys are familiar with the property. A little more background on the project. Tillotson Opportunity Campus Project will provide a wide range of opportunities that are easily accessed through a central location. As I mentioned, this will encompass resources from Boys and Girls Club, Methodist Hospital, and Crossroads YMCA to provide childcare, exercise classes, community programming, and a healthcare clinic. The project has received funding from the state of Indiana and the Dean and Barbara White Family Foundation and is expected to be a $30 to $40 million project investment in the community. This project aims to be transformational, a generational project, and really a great project for the city. I do have some handouts of the primary plat, site plan, and renderings. You probably already have copies of the plat and site plan, but I did want to give these to you guys in case you're interested. They're more focused on the signage, but you'll get a good look at what the buildings look like too. So just to elaborate, while you guys are looking those over, the project will include remodeling of the approximate south half of the Boys and Girls Club, including selective demolition, finished carpentry, flooring, ceilings, painting, and drywall. They'll also be getting some significant plumbing, HVAC, and electrical upgrades that are much needed. The approximate north half of the Boys and Girls Club building will be demolished to allow for construction of a new YMCA building, which will still be connected to the Boys and Girls building. The YMCA building will have quite a few things like they have in their other locations, including but not limited to Child Watch, Kids Club, Community Room, 3 full-size basketball courts, locker rooms, swimming pool, warm water pool, spa, sauna, steam room, running track, exercise equipment and weights, studio rooms. And as I mentioned, there will be space in the YMCA part of the building for Methodist Hospital, for a couple healthcare offices. So in addition to all the building work, this project will include significant site improvements, including site gradings, retention basins, site utilities, storm sewer, asphalt parking lots, concrete sidewalks, curb and gutter, sidewalks, landscaping, site lighting, and irrigation. DVG is the lead surveyor and civil engineer on a design build team project also consisting of Shive Hattery, who's the architect, Millie's Engineering, the MEP engineer, and then the general contractor is a combination of Berglund Construction and Powers and Sons. So to kind of get how we got here, this design build team met with various department heads and city staff back in mid-November to discuss the project. While we really don't need to replat these 2 parcels, it's not absolutely necessary for what we need to do. It was kind of decided by the collective group that it made sense to combine them at this time while we're doing this work. This will kind of clean things up, so to speak, and also allow for some future flexibility. In addition to the primary plat that was submitted, I believe we submitted all the supplemental information required, including life safety plans, proof of ownership. We also included our design development documents, about 50% plans for the building and site. We plan to submit, kind of schedule-wise moving forward, we plan to submit the full issued for permit site plans either tomorrow or early next week. We'll continue to work with staff such as Corey, GSD, William, as needed to get future approvals. As far as construction goes, right now, I know they're in the process of getting started with permitting and building demolition. So over the next few months, they'll be doing some demolition work, and they're hoping to get started on site work in late March and possibly foundations in April. Substantial completion is scheduled for summer of next year with a grand opening late summer or early fall. So as I mentioned, I think this would be an absolutely fantastic project for the city. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
You can have a seat here. What was your name again?
Greg Lorig with DVG.
Mr. Lorig, okay, because we're going to open it up to public portion. That way, if they have any questions that are technical in nature, you won't be so far back. So we'll open up the public portion. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2025-03? Please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Miko Fong, 2700 West 15th Avenue. I'm right across from the park, right on the corner of 15th and Marshall. You mentioned the track. I noticed they had already taken the fence down. What is that? Is the track encompassed as part of this project, or what? What's going to be done with the park part of it?
So there is a parcel east of the track that I believe is city-owned property with the park. There's no plans for this project to do anything with that. The track area proper, there's not really any plans for right now. We have a sidewalk that connects to it, but the bulk of the work will be focused around the Boys and Girls Club property.
The old Tolliston School? Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak in regards to PC 2025-03?
Hello, my name is Annette Jones, and I live at 2709 West 19th Avenue. I am so glad. I'll be glad when they get finished with it. I got one question. When you guys have the EGM, you gonna put the EGM over there? Oh, good. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak in regards to 2025-03? Are there any members of the public who wish to speak to PC 2025-03? Seeing none, I will declare public portion closed. Are there any questions from the commission?
Do we know at this time how many jobs could be created with the project?
Yeah.
Could you say that again, William? As far as
Yeah, at this time, do we know how many jobs can potentially be created for the project?
That's a great question. I actually forgot to mention that Mark Jones is here from Boys and Girls Club. You guys are mainly doing a remodel, so you're probably not necessarily looking at new employees on your side?
Right, I'm trying to get his attention.
Sorry, I'm Mark Jones with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and we will need more staff to run programming on our side of the building just because of more use, more children and teens that we will serve on our side. I know information was gathered on how many jobs will be created on the YMCA side and with the Methodist Hospital's involvement, but I don't know what those numbers are.
Are there any other questions?
I would just add to that real quick that I can find that information out and send it to you, William, or Corey, what they're estimating.
In addition, on the construction side, is there someone or group that you've networked with that would be on the construction side? That's great. The long-term jobs during the construction. Have you worked?
I'm not hearing back or anything like that, but that is something that they've been doing.
Yeah, that's the team that originated from Gary, so Powers and STEM, of course.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what any programs or additional groups. So, okay.
I cannot speak to their subcontractor list, so this project's kind of being done in phases. So the demolition is kind of phase one. There's some asbestos abatement in the old building as part of that. There's also some water service relocation work. But I do not, so that work has gone out to bid and I think been awarded to their subs. As far as the building work itself, I don't think that's slated to go out for bid for subs for another month or two. So I really can't speak to that, I guess.
I only mention that because there are programs that encompass all of those that allow Powers and Sons and everyone to have additional support, and just wondering how the structure is put together. So, okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge hodgepodge of subcontractors from I know they've been getting pricing from different people, but it's a big project, so there will be a lot of different contractors involved.
Okay.
What, again, is your funding source? Can you reiterate that?
So my understanding is the big chunks of funding are from state of Indiana. They got a READY grant for this project, Dean and Barbara White Foundation, and I believe City of Gary may also be locally participating, but I cannot speak to details on that.
It's Commissioner Cook. The original number was 30 million, and it was 10 million from the state, 10 million from the Dean and Barbara White Foundation, and the city is putting forth 10 million in ARPA funds.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the commission? Hearing none, seeing none, I will entertain the commission's pleasure.
Mr. President?
Commissioner Sarah.
I make a motion to approve 2025-03 as stated.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'd like to second it, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Right, so staff's recommendation was that the primary plat be approved and that secondary plat approval be done administratively. Indiana, section of Gary City Ordinance 121-33 says that for secondary grant approval, the commission may direct the planning staff to perform that duty of doing the secondary plat approval, which has the more detailed. So I think that's the distinction. The request from staff is that you vote to approve the preliminary plat and grant staff the authority to conduct the secondary plat review.
Okay, then I will modify my motion in that manner.
All right. Having been moved and properly second, are there any other questions, discussion on readiness? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call, council.
Commissioner Bonds?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
All right, we will show that by a vote of 7-0. Sorry, everything's falling apart here. PC 2023-03 has been granted preliminary approval.
Thank you, Plan Commission and staff.
2025-0.
Sorry, 2025-03. Thank you.
Good catch. Thank you, sir. Last item on the agenda is adjournment.
I make a motion that we, at this time, adjourn our meeting.
Having been moved and properly second, are there any questions on readiness? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed hold the same right. We are adjourned. Thank
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mayor Eddie Melcher right here in the great city of Gary, Indiana. I'm truly excited about today. We have officially kicked off our Relight the City initiative, where we are fixing over 2,000 streetlights throughout the entire city of Gary. And I want to thank our city engineer, Mr. William Allen, for all of his hard work. He's been working on this for an entire year, our first year in office, and today, you see the work behind us is just getting started. So, Will, tell us a little bit about this project.
Thank you, Mayor Eddie Melton. Excited to be here. It took a lot of effort to understand exactly what we had in the great city of Gary, all of our assets. And right now we're on Bird Street. So as you can see, we have an old high-pressure sodium fixture that just got disconnected from one of our existing poles and replaced with a new LED fixture. This particular fixture is over 2 decades old. Like I said, it's high pressure sodium. So what we replaced it with was LED.
We want to thank the Biden administration for supporting this initiative. We want to thank the Biden administration for supporting this initiative through the American Rescue Plan. $3.4 million invested in the city of Gary in our infrastructure right now. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Did you know the City of Gary has a 311 app? You can report any non-emergency request right from your smartphone. Need help dealing with unfair landlords? Use the app.
Girl, I just don't understand. I'm paying rent, and my landlord isn't fixing any of the issues in this apartment. What should I do?
You know you can report it on the Gary 311 app. Do you have it?
What's that?
Let me show you. Just go to your app store.
Or maybe you need to request the birth certificate.
Kim, I can't find my birth certificate.
Oh, it probably just got misplaced during the move. Actually, we can request a new one through the Gary 311 app.
Okay. New technology. I'm in.
Let me show you.
And guess what? You can even report illegal dumping.
Look at him! Just dumping his garbage on private property.
Well, caught him in 4K. You know we can report him on the Gary 311 app and to GPD's Taste and Tip?
That's good.
Never feel frustrated again about an issue. Use the Gary 311 app to report all your non-emergency needs. It's a free application that allows users to report community issues, pinpoint the location with GPS, attach photos, and more. All right from your smartphone. Download the Gary 311 app today. Available on iOS and Android.